It's rare to find someone who doesn't love chocolate. But there's something about one of our favorite treats you may not know. Its key ingredient comes from places that don't always benefit from our obsession. Seth Doane has a report that's bittersweet.
Your house is here.
Just here. Work is here.
Kim Addison is on a culinary and cultural mission of sorts to change our perception of chocolate.
When we think of chocolate, we think, Switzerland, Belgium, or France, but never Ghana, never Cote d'Ivoire, and those are the two largest producers of cocoa in the world. So how is it that we're not known for our chocolate?
She's trying to change that with 15 employees working from this modest space in the African nation of Ghana.
What was this building before it was a chocolate factory?
It was actually my parents' first house.
Kim and her sister Priscilla, Ghanaians who grew up in America and around the world, are part of a growing effort to keep some of the profits from the $100 billion chocolate industry here. They started their own company, 57 Chocolate.
57 Chocolate, it's short for 1957, which was Ghana's independence. But it's not just about Ghana being free from colonial rule. It's more about the spirit behind Ghana's independence. Hey, as Ghanaians, as Africans, we can do this.
As a businesswoman, she's motivated by some numbers that do not make sense to her. 2/3 of the world's cacao, the raw ingredient that's roasted and used to make chocolate, is grown in the African nations of Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast and Ghana. Yet Africa produces just 1% of the world's chocolate. The biggest chocolate makers are in the US and Europe, which is where most of the money goes to. Chocolate's story is certainly not all sweet. There are continuing issues of trafficking children to work on plantations for little or no pay, an issue that touches even US consumers. A new lawsuit alleges Customs and Border Protection ignored evidence that child labor was involved in harvesting cocoa for major U.S. candy makers. The agency told us it cannot comment on pending litigation. Today, the Department of Labor estimates that 1.5 million children still work illegally on cocoa plantations. We visited cocoa country to see where the problems start and to understand some possible solutions. Evans Kanubi cracks open the pods to extract the sweet, slimy bean, which at this stage has a flavor like lychee fruit.
And it tastes good.
I saw you eating a few of them earlier.
While there are perks, high pay is not among them.
Do you feel like you make enough money to have a decent living?
No.
The average cocoa farmer in Ghana earns less than $2 a day, and it's labor-intensive work. Once the cocoa is collected, it's left to ferment under banana leaves for about 7 days, then is laid out in the sun to dry. Stephen Ashia has been farming cocoa for 14 years and says he barely breaks even.
At the end, you'll buy chocolate bars?
No, mostly I don't buy chocolates. The money we have, it will better I use it to buy heavy foods rather than buy chocolate that cannot fill my belly to come and work.
You don't make enough money to afford chocolate.
Yeah.
That's a bitter reality Dutch chocolate maker Tony's Chocolonely is confronting.
Nobody needs chocolate. And to me, it's really unacceptable that in something that's a luxury, that's a gift, that people accept that there's extreme poverty at the beginning of that supply chain.
Paul Schoenmakers led sustainability programs for Tony's Chocolonely until last month. The company's name nods to its lonely place in this fight against exploitation.
The two main problems are illegal labor and massive deforestation, and both of them are driven by poverty. What our program aims to do is help farmers enable earn a living income, and with that we take away the root cause of the issues in cocoa.
They took us to see schools they help support, a common way many big chocolate companies claim to be giving back. But Schoenmakers underlined that this, what he called charity, is not enough. Boosting real incomes is essential. He says the price most chocolate companies are paying for raw cocoa here, a price set by the government, is too low compared to what farmers need to live.
We calculate how big the gap is between the government set price and the living income price, and we pay that gap as an extra premium.
For the spring harvest, the premium was about $63 higher than what's set by the government, meaning Tony's paid almost double for each bag of beans. Tony's also implemented a tracing system to follow the beans through their supply chain. Tifolis Abaka monitors this step.
So knowing that you'll be held responsible for whatever happens to your beans, it will help you to do the right thing.
Can you calculate how many chocolate bars you can make from a bag like this of cocoa?
Yeah, that's a good question. It really depends on the type of chocolate. So a dark chocolate bar would contain more cocoa than a milk chocolate bar. But on average, a Tony's bar, 300 to 500 bars from one bag.
300 to 500 bars.
But farmers were getting just $80 for each of these bags of cocoa.
We're almost doubling that, and it's still only a small fraction of the retail price. There's no chocolate company will go bankrupt on that, but it will mean the whole world of a difference for cocoa farmers.
After it is fully dry, the flavor will come.
You start smelling the chocolate.
Yeah.
We met Gifty Narky drying cocoa beans for one of the farmer cooperatives selling to Tony's.
My parents were doing.
How about your grandparents?
They too.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about their parents?
They too.
So your great-great-parents, your grandparents,
They are all
your parents,
cocoa farmers.
all cocoa farmers,
Yeah.
and now you.
Yes.
She told us she used some of the extra money Tony's pays to make a capital investment. She needs a second job.
At first, I don't have machine to sew, but now I have got some machine to sew.
Because you got extra money.
Yes.
And from Tony's?
Yes.
Working through these cooperatives, Tony's tries to build the relationships needed to identify and root out problems.
Right on the bar, it says, "We exist to end modern slavery and illegal child labor in the chocolate industry." It's a goal, but not a guarantee.
We cannot do this on our own. We have to develop a model that is replicable and scalable, so all other chocolate companies can do the same as we do.
But if I buy this piece of chocolate, can you guarantee that there's not child labor involved?
So if you buy chocolate from Tony Chocolate only, then you know that we search for child labor.
Search, but can't promise that it's not part of the chain somewhere.
And we find child labor. We're also transparent about the child labor cases that we find, but it's good that we find it because that's the start of solving it.
Next season, the Ghanaian government is raising the price of cocoa as part of an effort to combat smuggling, illegal gold mining on cocoa plantations, and, of course, child labor. At 57 Chocolate, Kimberly Addison is trying her own way to keep more profits in Ghana through controlling the production of chocolate.
Shouldn't we be adding value to that cocoa in country, consuming it in country, and then also making it available globally?
But there are challenges you'd probably never think of in this cocoa-producing country. There's the melting heat, inconsistent electricity, and problems finding raw materials like sugar and milk. Still, Addison joins a handful of other small companies working to cultivate and profit from the growing taste for chocolate here. The prominent black leaders and Ghanaian independence figures featured on their bars are a reminder of the spirit and potential of this place.
There's so much value here on the continent. Where there are problems, there are huge opportunities. And what we're doing at 57 is we've seen a problem with something as small as the cocoa bean, and we've turned it into an opportunity.